shoot through walls, to a trick to recharge your super extra fast, these are 79 Brawl Stars secrets pro players don't want you to know.
Upgrading brawlers in Brawl Stars is one of the most satisfying things to do, but it can be a double-edged sword. If you upgrade brawlers that are weak or don't fit your playstyle, it's only going to slow down your progress. Instead, focus on saving your resources to upgrade brawlers that are strong and suit how you play. If you want to go pro in Brawl Stars, staying on top of the current metas is a must. The game's always changing with updates every month, introducing buffs and nerfs to different brawlers. Each brawler has a chance to become weaker or stronger, and ignoring the meta will pretty much backstab you. So do yourself a favor and stay updated. Who knows, maybe one day we'll finally get a real Edgar nerf, or better yet, he'll be removed altogether. Buying star powers and gadgets can totally change how strong your brawler is, but picking the wrong ones can make them so much worse. So before you spend all your hard-earned gold, check what the community says or watch a video to see them in action. You don't want to be that Griff running coin shower, which just adds one extra wave of coins. Seriously, who even uses that? Speaking of gadgets, there's actually a way to know when your teammates or enemies have their gadgets ready to be used. There's a little icon that appears at the bottom of every brawler if they have their gadgets ready. If it's missing, that means they have no gadgets available. It amazes me how many people still don't know about this. 99% of players don't know this crow trick. I haven't met that many crow mains in my life, but the ones I have met all tell me the same thing. Hit everyone with your attacks in the early game. Crow's attacks have anti-healing, and in the early game, hitting all 3 players with a shot can seriously disrupt the enemy team if they try to heal up. Prioritize this over just going for kills, and you'll find yourself getting way more wins. As a member of a club, one thing you have to do when entering a game is check the club chat. Sometimes you'll find yourself in the middle of a cool conversation, but other times, yeah, it gets weird. I would actually brag about how I got a new legendary brawler in the chat, and I got kicked. Getting one shot by Shelly from the bush is probably the worst part of solo showdown. To avoid this, always check the bushes, because the moment you least expect it, there she is. Nah, for real though, maybe try having some skill and face me in a 1v1 next time. After unlocking a new brawler or skin, you have to take a screenshot. It's basically a rule. I've spammed my friends' group chat with so many of my achievements that they actually banned me from it. I won, but at what price? I bet you don't know how to control the gem spawn and gem grab properly. It may be tempting to just go all for the kills and gem grab, and sure, this strategy can even work if you have an aggressive team composition. However, it's very important to control the gem respawn in the middle of the map instead of overextending and putting yourself at risk by chasing endless kills. Blue's ice block gadget is absolutely unreal when used correctly. The ice block gadget makes you immune to damage for a few seconds, but a lot of Blue players only use it when they get really low on health, only to die as soon as it wears off. It's more effective to just use the gadget when either a ton of damage is coming your way or when you see an enemy about to use their super on you. That way you can get more value out of the gadget and also set yourself up to be able to fight once it runs out. I bet you think tanks should always be the gem carriers and gem grab. Well, that's actually not true. A lot of players assume that more health means a better chance to win, but what really matters is picking a long-range, versatile brawler. These brawlers can escape tricky situations and hold their ground when things get messy. So next time you're in gem grab, maybe leave the gems to someone who can run. Did you know you can accidentally KO your own teammate in Brawl Ball? If you use your super to pass the ball and it hits a teammate with low HP, it can actually cause damage and even finish them off. If you've maxed your account, don't fall into the trap of buying too many true gold and silver skins. Sure, they're a flex, but they're literally just expensive recolors of default skins. And the worst part, both of these skins will cost you roughly 35,000 coins, and as soon as you drop all of that gold, a new Brawl Talk drops, and suddenly there's a shiny new brawler you can't afford to upgrade. Luckily, I'm already in gold debt, so I can't even make this mistake. But speaking of skins, spending your gems on them is a horrible idea. Gems are super valuable for progressing your account, and washing them on skins can really hurt your progress. Instead, focus on using them for hypercharges, because it's a much smarter investment which will make you win more matches. I'd usually say to save them for the Brawl Pass, but Supercell removed that option. Thanks, Supercell! I absolutely hate it when my teammates don't work together in Brawl Ball. So, the next time your teammate is right by the enemy goal, pass them the ball instead of trying to walk it in yourself. Because, let's be real, most of the time, you'll mess it up and then your whole team will be mad at you. Wait, someone's knocking on my door. If Kit pops up on the screen as you're entering a match, he's guaranteed to spawn right next to you. My advice? Run in the right direction as fast as you can.
Ah, Kit!
Teammates who expect you to grab the power cubes that are right beside them are so annoying. In Duo Showdown, if there's a cube right next to you, just pick it up. Seriously, it's that simple. And then they wonder why the other team shows up with 10 power cubes and wipes us out. Everyone hates the play again button, especially when there's a quest for it. If you're a real Brawl Stars player, you probably just avoid that button like it's an Edgar and just go back to the lobby before hitting play again. Honestly, Supercell should just delete the play again button. Have you ever lost a match in gem grab because you gave every single gem to the enemy team? This happened because you didn't follow one simple rule. When you have 7 gems or more, just camp at the back. Even if you play with the best tank brawler like El Primo, you're probably just gonna mess it up. But that would never happen to me because I'm the best El Primo. And I lost the match. Map maker maps are usually fun and a great addition to Brawl Stars. But here's the unspoken rule. If you lose the match, you have to hit that dislike button. And if you win, you go ahead and like the map. That's the real Brawl Stars democracy. Please stop dying. Of course, nobody goes into a Brawl Stars game trying to die as much as possible. Well, except for every random I've ever teamed with. But if you look at the pro players game, you'll see they die way less than a normal player, even if they're losing. I absolutely love El Primo, but sometimes I need to accept that he's not the best brawler to pick. When you want to win your ranked games, you need to make sure your brawlers work well together. But drafting isn't just about picking the strongest brawlers. Every pro player knows that you need a balance of movement speed, range, health, damage, and CC in order to win a competitive match. So El Primo it is. Sometimes I'll lose a match and wonder what the heck just happened. But that's why watching your own replays is one of the best ways to improve. This is why just about every pro spends a lot of time replaying their games so they can see their own mistakes and learn from them. However, looking at replays can be risky, especially when you see your teammates completely whiffing their supers. I bet you've been spawn camped before. Yeah, it's the worst. But instead of rushing in solo to fight the enemy team, here's a smarter move. Wait for your team to regroup before attacking, because if you trade kills with one of them, you'll respawn right there, but they have to cross the entire map to get back to you. So stick together and use the power of friendship. Not paying attention to this can make your brawler completely useless. In ranked matches, a random modifier gets applied to the game, and if you ignore it, you're in big trouble. For example, if the sick beats modifier is active and you pick a brawler that relies on stunning, you've basically sabotaged your whole team. On the flip side, modifiers like quick fire can make certain brawlers like Leon way more effective. So next time, check that modifier before you lock in your pick. Don't waste your bling on brawler pins or sprays. They're way too expensive for almost no payoff. Instead, you can snag a much cooler skin with animations or even profile icons for the same amount. In ranked, you always get to see the map and mode before the match starts. And if it's hot zone or heist, someone has to pick a thrower. These modes are literally made for thrower brawlers, and it makes a huge difference if you or a teammate pick someone like Tick or Barley, because if you don't, the enemy team definitely will, and now you're stuck playing against a brawler you can't ultimately reach. If you're jumping into a ranked match, don't use it as a chance to test out that new brawler you just got. In ranked, it's all about winning. So if you see your teammate picking their maxed out brawler with a hypercharge and you pick out a level 4 brawler you're excited to try, you're just asking for trouble, and you'll probably lose the match. Casual modes exist for a reason, okay? Wow, what a nice day. I hope nothing ruins it. Oh, great. If you're an Edgar main, players will probably see you as the biggest noob out there. Nobody likes Edgar. And if you eliminated me with him, I bet your address has shown up in my Google search history a few times already. Everyone hates that one player that goes AFK. Seriously, being AFK for even 2 seconds in a 3v3 match can be the reason your team loses. So just don't do it. But Balutic, I'm playing on my phone. I can't be away from the keyboard. When daily rewards reset, you've got to do this. The moment you're in, check for new quests, then head to the game mode selection screen and tap like crazy to reveal all those modes and grab some XP. I love pressing buttons. Have you ever wanted to become a pro by simply pressing a button? Well, you can actually do that, sort of. You see, auto aim is always turned on automatically when you make a new Brawl Stars account, but when you switch it off and train your aim on your brawlers, you'll find yourself hitting way more shots and doing way more damage. Finally, I can get to rank 35. Everyone has a brawler they tried for the first time and fell totally in love with. But what most players don't do is learn everything there is to know about their new favorite brawler. While learning all the abilities and maps to use it on is good, you can take this to a step further by learning how they compare to other brawlers in the game and how to counter all of them, especially Edgar. How good are you at Showdown? Me personally, I only win every game. Not everyone can play Showdown and find themselves winning almost every single game, but the very very best Brawl Stars players know they're good enough to win on their own in Showdown consistently, and they push trophies fastest in the entire community. But of course, that is hard, which is why I stick to pushing my trophies in modes like Brawl Ball with a team instead. Scoring in Brawl Ball is how you win the game, but that doesn't mean you should only focus on scoring as fast as possible. When you have the ball in the mode, you can't attack, and that means you're a sitting duck for enemies to kill you without any threat. Focus on gaining map control before you start going for goals, and punish enemies who are too eager on getting the ball through your spawn. Brawl Stars is all about teamwork, which is why just every pro player uses voice comms when they play their matches. Usually this will be on Discord, but some pros use TeamSpeak or other apps too, so that they can call targets, cooldowns, tactics, and so much more. I once even caught my friend using FaceTime for comms. Try this in your next game of Brawl Stars. Super stacking is something only the best of the best can do correctly in Brawl Stars. Super stacking is when you use a character like Mortis or Frank that can rapidly build up supers and use them basically right after each other. If you're patient enough, you can get a super stack going that completely decimates the entire team practically by yourself. Rushing with Shelly is the most common mistake players make, and you should avoid it completely. This is because most of the time, you'll just get demolished by other ranged brawlers. Instead, what you should do is prioritize approaching tanky short-range brawlers, since she's an anti-tank brawler. Also, be sure to never camp in bushes, or your IP address might end up on someone's list. Bruce should eat enemy bullets. Pause. Let me explain. Most Nita players throw their super anywhere as soon as they get it, and this usually ends up with Bruce dying instantaneously without contributing to your match. However, a much better way to use him is to literally make him your meat shield when getting shot at by non-piercing projectiles. In other cases where you're facing AoE or piercing attacks, try throwing Bruce right beside your enemy, and now he'll be a distraction, letting you get away. Auto aim has to be one of the most common mistakes new players make. I know I've mentioned this before, but unless you're being chased, auto-aiming with long-range brawlers like Colt will make you miss nearly every shot. Also, make sure to strafe when shooting moving targets, and you're on a good path to being a pro. Just like me. Never mind. If you're playing Bull, then stop dying in 3 seconds. In other words, when you choose a Bull to play a match, don't rush to the center with your super thinking you have enough health, because trust me, you don't. The most annoying thing you can do in Brawl Stars is probably to break defense walls. This will certainly make players hate you, and I know you're going to say, but Baludic, it was an accident. Well, you were too. Okay, jokes aside, when you're playing with Brock and Brawl Ball, for example, try to avoid using your super on your team side, because chances are you're just going to lose. If you love El Primo as much as I do, then never buy the Vision gear. It's probably the worst gear you could get for a tank brawler, and honestly, it's just a bad gear overall. Like, why would I need to see a bigger radius in bushes? Supercell had a big vision for the Vision gear. Get it? Brawl Stars players have a way to signal if you're a bad player. If a teammate came all the way to spawn to shoot you in 3v3, it probably means they're mad at you and want you to leave the match. How about you use your ammo on the enemies instead? Getting a new legendary skin is awesome, but there's an unwritten rule. You have to spin it around in the lobby. It is the best way to check out all the details, and honestly, it's just fun to do. Bonus points if you spin your friend's brawler too. If you're an OG player, you probably keep your controls unlocked. Back when the game launched, that was the only option, and a lot of players stuck with it to keep that classic Brawl Stars tradition. But some players argue that pro players use locked movement. If you just found $100 on the ground, hold up before you blow it all on gems. Gem packs are actually the worst deal you can get, and you should never spend on them. Instead, maybe wait for special offers in the shop, or honestly, just go get the Brawl Pass. I mean, I gotta clear my gem debt first anyways, so... When I play Brawl Stars, I always want to win the game as fast as possible. I want to kill the enemy now. But when you're playing a mode like Knockout, a bit of patience goes a long way. Very often, waiting for the smoke to appear before making your move to fight can assure you an easy victory. Or, if you're playing Brawl Ball, making sure that you get the ball into a good position can be more important than just rushing the enemy team right away. But personally, I don't have time for that. Get over here. In Siege, collecting those first screws is super important. That's why the best players always pick fast brawlers with dashers like Mortis to rush the first bolt at the start of the game. So if you ever felt greedy for rushing towards the first bolt spawn in Siege, do not feel greedy. Remember, only 4 screws spawn in each round of Siege, so if you manage to just get 2, you've secured yourself at least half the screws of the round. Sometimes the boxes on certain maps get in the way of either yourself or your teammates. The solution? Break them down. Breaking down boxes in basically any mode can give your team a huge advantage if you have a lot of long-range brawlers or the enemy team has a lot of short-range brawlers. If you're making space for your team by intentionally breaking down boxes, you're definitely moving like a pro. Did you know you can use Mastery credits as a sneaky way to buy newly released brawlers? Masterly rewards give you credits to unlock brawlers, but don't claim them right away. If you're not interested in the current choices, save those credits as a backup. When a new brawler drops, Supercell gives you about 14 days to unlock them earlier, no matter where you are on the star road. So after the brawler is released, just grab those saved credits and unlock them instantly. This is especially useful if you've already maxed out the star road and are stuck grinding fame, because to be honest, fame sucks. If you're bad with certain brawlers, here's a tip. Don't think about teaming. Teaming in solo showdown is one of the worst things you can do, and it ruins the experience for everyone. Plus, it's only a matter of time before other players start hating you and backstabbing you anyways. There's a reason duo showdown exists, so maybe try that instead and stop ruining everyone's day. If you want to maximize your progress in Brawl Stars, then make sure to never skip your daily quests. These are separate from weekly quests and give you an extra 400 XP for tasks that are super easy to complete. To put it into perspective, with a 28-day season, that's an extra 11,200 XP just waiting for you. This is the most annoying mistake players can make in duo showdown. When you pick up a power cube, it gives one to both you and your teammate. But if your teammate gets taken out and is waiting to respawn, don't grab any cubes unless you're in a tight spot. If you do, your teammate will come back with 0 power cubes while you're sitting there with 10, basically making them useless. It's super annoying when you get caught playing Brawl Stars in class and now you have to leave the match. If that's you and you've entered a match with a random player or your friend, at least do everyone a favor. Close the app completely so the game replaces you with a bot. Have you ever bought a Brawl Pass? If you have, then changing your nickname font to chromatic is a must. Now, whenever you enter a match, your teammates will probably think, wow, this guy must be a pro player, and it'll give them a confident boost. Supercell is definitely not beating pay to win allegations with this one. Everyone hates those players who just quit right after a match. If you're going to leave, drop a message in the chat to let your friends know, because disappearing just feels awkward. But hey, I don't have to worry about notifying anyone because I don't have any friends. A spinning player in a solo showdown means he wants to team up with you. So the next thing you must do is eliminate him. You know, spin around to gain his trust and then backstab him. We must eliminate teamers. Most players don't know what the best way to farm trophies is. While it's super common to push trophies on brawlers evenly, this is actually not the best method, because if you leave one brawler at low trophies, you can use him to get guaranteed wins and gain a win streak. Then start up a game on a brawler you actually want to push trophies with and race ahead with the win streak bonus. In Gem Grab, once you've collected your 10 gems and that timer starts ticking down, only one word goes through my head: run! Now, obviously you want to get out of the way and run the clock down when you've collected enough gems, but sometimes backing off too quickly can be detrimental. 15 seconds is a lot longer than it sounds, and if you group in your spawn too quickly with your team, you may just surrender too much control and lose your advantage. Remember to keep a cool head and retreat as sensibly as possible. You may have pinched your friends before, but have you ever pinched in Brawl Stars? Lane pinching is a technique where 2 of your teammates focus the same brawler, not necessarily to kill them, but in order to take their space or lane and get a more advantageous fight. This technique is super difficult to pull off properly and can be devastating when done wrong, but if you pull it off perfectly, it can win you the game. Speaking of good decisions, there's another thing you need to consider when you're picking your brawler: the map and mode. Different modes and maps cater to different brawlers, and knowing what brawler to play separates pros from the average. And my random picked Edgar. Getting a triple kill with the super is one of the best feelings in Brawl Stars. However, pro players know that it's key to use your super at the perfect time, and sometimes this means saving them for the next fight or taking out the last line of defense in Brawl Ball. My losing streak is finally over. But while we're talking about upgrades, here's a tip: don't waste your coins on the vision gear for close range brawlers. Why? Well, it only reveals enemies in bushes for 2 seconds after you hit them, and if you're out of range, it's pretty much useless. Plus, with better options like this shield or health regen gear, gears, which actually help you survive longer, vision gear feels like a wasted slot. Honestly, if you're that desperate to mess with bush campers, just pick Bo because he already sees 150% more in bushes with his circling eagle star power. We all know rough players struggle to share their buff supers. However, if you're the one playing rough with hypercharge and feeling a little selfish, avoid this. Most players use hypercharge, throw their super, and instantly grab the buff. But that's a big mistake. Instead, wait for your hypercharge to run out before picking up the buff. Why? Because it'll instantly refill your hypercharge bar, letting you infinitely cycle it. At least until your teammate swoops in and steals it. Everyone knows Amber has an ammo bar that drains as she attacks. But here's the trick. Don't bother manually aiming with her, because every time she fires a single flame projectile, her auto aim resets, meaning it's actually the most accurate auto aim in the entire game. So next time you're playing Amber, just hold that button and watch your enemies burn. This almost feels cruel. Everyone hates Mortis. I can't even remember a game recently where I haven't died to a Mortis. The thing with Brawl Stars is that sometimes characters are too OP, like Rosa on release or Barley before they changed his super. But as you'll know, the best players always find a way to counter the best characters. So if the entire community is complaining about a character you're having no trouble with, pat yourself on the back. When you get a kill in Showdown, you may feel the need to celebrate, especially if you've just clutched on low health or killed a player with much more power than you. But if you feel like taking your toxic celebration a bit further and rubbing some extra salt in the wound, spam that thumbs down button too, and your opponents will be raging. Randoms make me rage all the time, but if Brawl Stars makes you lose your cool too much, that's a sign you're getting way too emotional. The best players in Brawl Stars know how to take a deep breath and not get tilted, so they can focus on winning the match at hand. I get it, that Shelly running around in Brawl Ball dying 1,000 times can get you angry, but just breathe. It's all gonna be okay. Never mind! Come here, you mother. When I play Nita, I can never tell where that stupid bear is going. But did you know there's actually a way to check where the bear is with your gadget button? Well, sort of. Sometimes a pet might run away too far from you, but all you need to do is tap the gadget button to see if it's still alive. This is one of the most common mistakes players make, missing your daily freebies. Not only are these a great way to rack up extra resources for your account, but you might also hit the jackpot and score a huge reward on any random day. So don't forget to check it regularly. And it's -5 gems. Woohoo. Have you ever been caught up by another player while using Leon's invisibility and thought they were cheating? Well, they're not. They just had their volume cranked up and could hear your footsteps even though you were invisible. So if you're playing with your sound off, it's basically like giving those players superpowers. Turn your volume up. Your team needs to know where to go. One of the biggest mistakes teams make is funneling. In other words, all grouping up in the same spot on the map. This makes your entire team as an easy target, especially for brawlers with AoE attacks. So next time you play, make sure everyone picks a lane, left, right, or middle, and stick to it. Did you know that even if your team funnels, they can still end up in bad matchups? If you're getting destroyed by a brawler that completely counters you, don't just stand there and take it. Talk to your teammate who can handle that enemy and swap lanes. And don't stop there. Keep switching positions throughout the match, because trust me, the other team is doing the exact same thing. You have to always stay 2 steps ahead. Playing solo showdown would be so boring without obstacles. Seriously, every time you pass those skulls, you just have to destroy them. There's this weird, unexplainable satisfaction to it. But watch out, and don't waste all of your ammo on them, or other players might swoop in and take you out. Never pick Mortis in Heist. Trust me. Mortis mains might be super skilled, but even the best pros know better than to choose him for this mode. And that is because he's a melee brawler. It's the same for BB. If you try to take down the safe with them, you'll get wrecked almost instantly. But there's an unwritten rule that's also a pro tip. If you have quests like dealing damage, pick map maker maps to actually complete them, because you don't gain or lose any trophies in these maps, so now you can just focus on speedrunning through that quest without any pressure. These skins show that you're a complete noob. Players that use Squad Buster Shelly are always bad players, and the same rule applies to Star Shelly. The thing is that these skins were available to get for free, so players didn't have to do any grind to get them at all. Star Shelly was also a skin from 2019, and to be honest with you, you would expect these players to do much better. However, most of the time, they can't even kill a bot. Sprays can be super annoying when you pull them from star drops, but I mean, hey, if you've got it, why not use it? And if you change your spray, you have to use it in your next match. Otherwise, legend says there's a jump scare waiting for you in the lobby.